Alright, how's it going everybody? Welcome back. So I had been told the Japanese soundtrack is the winner. I'm a little bit upset, but what can you do? I appreciate everybody that did donate towards that bid war. They're both really good. There's good songs in both of them. I lean a little more towards the US one, but yeah, I'll take whichever. Alright, let's get this started. CD, Tales All Good Futures. This is going to be a heck of a show. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so a little bit about the game. So Sonic CD, we call this a 2011 version. This is the remake of the original version, made in 1993, released for the Sega CD. Couple changes in this version. The biggest which is you can play as Tails, which is what we're doing today. I'll focus for a moment. Not exactly how I wanted that to go, but you know, that worked. More on what I just did here in a bit. So, we have Tails as a playable character, which is what we're doing today. You have different physics, very different physics. In my opinion, better physics. You know, to each their own. So we're just going to come over here to where I wanted to be. So, because of your generous donations, we are doing Tales All Good Futures. So what this requires is traveling to the past, more on that in a moment, destroying in Acts 1 and 2, or I should say Zones 1 and 2, the robot generators, and completing the stage. And if you do that for all 14 of those zones, you've gotten all the good futures. It's a little bit difficult doing that. Let me get through this stage and I will explain what it takes, because boy, this is a hard one to do. Okay, we survived. So, you're seeing these signposts. You'll see ones that say past and ones that say future. How you time travel, you grab a signpost. What we want is the past signposts in pretty much every stage. Again, more on that in a bit. And at that point, you need to build up speed. I couldn't tell you the exact amount of speed, but you'll see the little particles behind me. For the first 2 seconds or so, you know, you're invincible. You can plow through everything. If you stop, no big deal. You have the effects of the signposts. After a couple seconds, you'll see at the bottom left of my screen, the signpost starts flickering. At that point, you need to maintain your speed. If you do not maintain your speed, you stop, you take damage, something happens, you'll lose the effects of the signpost, and you'll probably see me reset the stage, because that's something we can do. So it's very important not to do that. Yes, there are backups in these stages, but they are very slow. So a bit more about time traveling. There are 4 different eras in this game. There's the present, which is where we start off in all Acts 1 and 2. There's the past, which is where we're going in Acts 1 and 2. And then there's a good future and a bad future. Which one you go to just depends on what you've done so far. The good future is what you're seeing right now. Zone 3 is always going to be in the future. And the bad future is you didn't get the robot generators, you didn't collect the time stones, because apparently they're not Chaos Emeralds here. Not with what we're doing. So, again, Zones 1 and 2, we're going to the past, and then Zone 3 will always be in the future. So that's pretty much the short of that. Doing time traveling, it's a little on the difficult side the way we do it. There are pretty simple ways in every stage of doing it where, casually speaking, you could come in here and do it. But they're also much slower. So you're going to see me do some slightly quicker ways, such as this. Got bounce off that bumper, take a speed shoes right there at the generator. You can see me run through the generator there. You cannot do anything with them in any time period other than the past. So there we are going through it. And by the way, when you do that, that actually destroys all of the enemies in the stage. So there's no more enemies to worry about. It's just a matter of dodging things like those spikes. We're going to take this flipper all the way to the end of the stage. And that's about all I've got here. So, hey, we got a quick donation we can give.
Alright, we have a $20 donation from Supersonic saying, "Thank you ESA for having me for this awesome marathon, putting the money towards the Japanese soundtrack for Sonic CD. Good luck Finalflame and the rest of the runners." If you want to find the bad guy that's responsible for Japanese, it's Supersonic.
I see. Well, thank you for the donation. Alright, so I just got something there. You might have seen me zoom into the air really quick. That is called fast flight. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Let me manipulate this real quick. Nice little bounces to maintain my momentum and time travel here. So you'll see that more in a later stage. Fast flight is... it's a timed thing. Whoops, overshot this signpost. Another way you can kind of casually time travel here. Doesn't really take much to do. Real quick, since I'm focusing on this, so we just time traveled again. The reason being, right here, if I ever land, there's speed shoes and we can take this to the end of the stage. You do not have that in the past. So yeah, fast flight, it's really a time thing. It enables me to go up in the air much quicker. For the most part when I fly, I want to do that, although not every time. And it's very noticeable when you don't get it. You move very slowly. In Wacky Workbench 3, if you've ever seen it, it's mandatory. I get fast flight every time. You will see why. So we're going to play some pinball. Hopefully not for very long, because this is not a good pinball machine. I think Robotnik should throw this away and make a different one. And good. Alright, so this stage is very RNG dependent. Robotnik can just throw balls in your face, throw you to the bottom of the stage, and if you go down too low, have fun, good luck getting out. It's not easy, even with, you know, Tails Flight. So there's gotta be some shenanigans going on in this next stage, Tidal Tempest 1. If all goes well, I will not have to restart the stage. So this run is mostly glitchless, but there's a couple unintended things we're going to do in this stage. First one is right here at the start. Going to bounce off this enemy. You cannot fly above that ceiling, so you have to do that to get up top. And right here, pay close attention. Nope, that's a restart. Jump too early. Bound to happen. That's not an easy stage. So what I'm doing, I'm actually grabbing this future signpost, but we are not going to time travel to the future. And it's a really cool strat, but very difficult. Okay, made it to the top again. Let's try this again. I'm gonna pause buffer this time. Right there, you might have heard it go past. At the very bottom of that, there is a past signpost, and I managed to hit it just before I time traveled, and tricked the game into thinking, oh, well, you must have been hitting the past signpost the entire time. So let's send you to the past. And that saves us from using that area right below me in the present to time travel, which isn't super slow, but a lot slower than what I just did. I'm not too worried that I missed it the first try. That is a very difficult trick. You can't do too big of a jump, and you have to jump at, not frame perfect or anything, but right in that small window to get that. Tidal Tempest 2 is really unique and really awesome in that all four main categories of this game, Sonic and Tails, Beat the Game, and All Good Futures, all use the exact same route. The reason being, you know, time traveling does take time, but we time this in in-game time similar for pretty much the same reason Supersonic went over in Sonic 2, because of the score countdown. And the in-game timer actually stops during this. As a matter of fact, you actually move ahead a little bit, because coming out, the timer is also stopped. So because of that, and for other reasons, we're actually going to time travel again in this stage, similar to Collision Chaos 2. So right here, going to spin dash, go through the generator, and the reason we do this, and hopefully I'm far enough right that there's no issue, is that we missed a lot of objects that would block our path. I unfortunately hit that one, but honestly, I'll take one over the 2,000 I would have hit if I was in the present. It's a very rough path. Even in Beat the Game, you save like 4 seconds doing 2 time travels in the stage. And you also couldn't see if there was a crusher there at the very end of the past segment that could have easily crushed me. And if I wasn't time traveling at that point, I would just die and you'd be all the way at the start of the stage because we don't hit any checkpoints there. So going through the maze, we're hitting Robotnik 4 times initially. Gotta grab the invincibility. That's gotta be needed here in a moment. Going to fall down. Whoops. So this boss, you see all these bubbles surrounding him. You're meant to take him out one by one to attempt to reach him. We're Tails. We don't need to do that. We're just going to fly into him, use the invincibility, and boom, you are dead. There's a really cool quick kill with Sonic, which he just takes out 2 of the bubbles and then hits him. But as Tails, there's no need. So off the Quartz Quadrant, I'd say we got time for another donation if you'd like.
Alright, we have a $20 donation from Nordic Soy saying, my fellow Italian brother Mario needs to go around and bear those glorious nipples. That's of course another $20 towards the nipple percentage for Super Mario Odyssey, and we only need $50 more if we wanted to see Mario's nipple. Thank you.
Alright, so I did a precise spin dash there. I did exactly a 3-tap, which gave me just the amount of speed, not only to keep the signpost, but to time travel me right here, and apparently somehow missed the generator. Okay, that should have put me at the generator, but you know, strange things. So we're just gonna spin dash along the top path, not much else going on. So yeah, I'd say go ahead and hit us with another donation.
Alright, I would just like to remind everyone that we're raising money for ESA and affiliated events because of the increasing costs during this COVID-19 pandemic, and we greatly appreciate your support. Maybe consider subbing to the channel because the first 800 subs will get matched by HyperX, not Hypersonic, sorry, wrong game, for $2.50 each sub. Thank you so much.
Alright, in the Quartz Quadrant 2, so we're going to pick up the signpost and actually purposely lose it right there, because there's another one right here. This is the one we're going to take along this path. Jump into the speed shoes, and when you're under the effects of the signpost, you can just plow through enemies. You are invincible. I don't know if you'd lose it if you hit spikes, nor am I going to test it. So time traveled conveniently right here. There's the robot generator. Skip that future signpost just so we don't accidentally time travel. Miss our platform. That is very difficult to hit, believe it or not. But that's alright, we're here at the end of the stage. We are not going to grab that ring, because then we would be going after time stones, and this is not all time stones. If you want to see that category, you're gonna have to find somebody else, because it won't be me. So now, it's time for our exercise. So you may have noticed the bosses in this game are all very unique. They're not as, you know, plain hit them 8 times and that's it. Got a pause button for that, just to get better in game time. So yeah, this is the treadmill. We're just running along the treadmill. We are dodging bombs. We don't want to get hit by those, because then we go slower. The treadmill goes the speed we're going. We are literally running out the floor from under Robotnik. So if you're ever wondering what happens if you put metal on a treadmill, this is your answer. You just slowly lose part of it, and it's red hot. Robotnik's about to feel it, for that matter. So, I'd say, yeah, if you'd like to do a little more talking before the next stage.
Alright, sure. Of course you can not just donate or subscribe to the channel, but you can also support us by buying one of our merch items. If you scroll down the channel, there's a picture of 3 handsome men, and if you click on that, you get to our merch store where you can buy ESA branded t-shirts or hoodies. That would also support us, and of course you get a really cool shirt or hoodie.
Nice. Alright, so, now we've gotten through the easy part of the game. This is the hard part. I'm just going to go ahead and restart that stage now and take the 1-second loss. The reason I'm doing that, Wacky Workbench is very cycle dependent, and I'm already off cycle, and I do not want that. Not at the start of this stage. You know what? Whatever. Backups. Alright. So, you can clip through these. That is not a glitch. That is by design. That is required in some places. That time travel is kind of difficult to get. The reason I restarted was because I went slower than I wanted to at the start of that. I actually missed the floor cycle and would not have bounced. So I'm going to do some focusing here for a moment. And if all goes well, we'll fly off to the top. Okay. Not terrible. So, you actually have to clip through this one to get to the generator. That is the only path. So it's kind of a hidden secret that some people just don't know about. Missed my ride, so I'm going to wait on here for a moment. This is honestly one of the worst stages in the game. I'd say it's even worse in Beat the Game. Because of cycles. You saw all those platforms, the shock stuff in the background, the floor, they're all on different cycles, and it's a nightmare to get everything to line up. So Wacky 2 going to do a skip here at the beginning. Going to jump on that, do a spin dash. That skips taking that zipper, saving some time, and I'll wait a couple seconds here. The reason I waited a couple seconds was to make sure the floor was on when I went down to the bottom. If you're slow at all, it's going to be off. You're going to lose the effects of the signpost and have to restart. I'm pretty certain I actually could have made it, but I'm so used to waiting just to be on the safe side, I'd rather do that than restart the stage. So I'm going to come on up here, and then going to try something that looks really cool, and hopefully I get it. Because I literally just learned this earlier. Do one tap, hold right. Well, that was almost good. Almost, except the floor wasn't on. So, back up. No, go up. I don't want the future signpost. I don't... Well, that didn't quite go as planned. So, I do not want to time travel. So, Tails, please. So I'm going to stop time travel right there. One thing to know about time traveling wouldn't have affected anything in this stage. If you're under the effects of speed shoes while time traveling, you will not have speed shoes in the new... wherever you're going, past, present, or future, you will lose the effects of those. So there are certain stages, primarily in Beat the Game, where you want to be sure not to do that. Okay, Wacky 3, this is one of the worst stages. Really, Wacky Workbench in general is one of the worst. So earlier in this run, I talked about Fast Flight. This is a stage where it really counts. Get down, Tails. Oh, that almost looked really cool. Alright, so right here, I need to get Fast Flight 3 times, ideally. And this is to skip a cycle. I'm also got a pause buffer. Should be good. Yep. I said 3 times. Actually, it's more like 5. This one's not too good. I think I'll be alright. Nope. So, unfortunately, I didn't land on it high enough. Now I have to wait. So visually, you could see just how Fast Flight can save you a lot of time right there. Didn't even need to talk much about it. Robotnik doing his little dance. And now, because Robotnik's somehow faster than us, as I bonk the wall. So yeah, if you can skip those extra cycles, it saves so much time. As it is, I got 2 of the 3, which isn't too bad. That's probably my average. And we still saved a ton of time. So Stardust Speedway is some of my favorite stages, both Acts 1 and 2, whichever category it is, just because of how fast it looks. So I gotta hang on to this signpost. And the generator is right below us to the left. Right there. Now we're gonna go back to where we just were. Grab these speed shoes coming up and go to town. Thanks for the extra life. I'm sure I'll need that. Yeah, really quick looking stage. Stardust 2. I put a lot of practice into this stage today. So of course it'll probably go horribly wrong. But when it goes right, it looks amazing and super fast. So it'll be my goal to do that. And if I screw it up, it'll still be pretty quick. So, you know, no harm in trying. So we're going to drop down here, grab this signpost, go to this area. I'm not going to come out where I want to come out. Jumped a little early off the wall and did a light jump. Okay, Tails. Let's, please. Oh boy. Okay then. Cool stage. So let's see where exactly I end up. So because we died in the past, we're actually put in the past. I'm gonna grab this since I don't have any rings. Okay, there we go. Alright, and now for hopefully the quick part. Stop the signpost. That was almost what I wanted. So if you time it just right, you will jump over or through all those springs and just go super quick. Honestly, that was still much better than I would normally do, so that practice did pay off. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off for the start of the stage where I died, but what can you do? So, next up is the iconic stage from this, Stardust Speedway 3. This is the race with Metal Sonic here. About the only thing I can really say is it's not as much a race against him as it is a race against Robotnik. Metal Sonic will rubber band, you know, if he's far behind, he'll catch up. If he's far ahead, he'll slow down. At the end of the stage, he'll slow down a ton, as you'll see. Robotnik moves at a set speed. If he catches you, you are dead. So all you need to worry about, don't race Metal Sonic, just race Robotnik. Now we have about about a minute of racing, so you got some talking time.
Alright, we have met the nipple incentive for Super Mario Odyssey because the Sound Defense donated $30 saying end body shaming. Free the nipple. I agree. So we're freeing the nipple in Super Mario Odyssey. 2 games after this, not the next one but the one after that. And thank you so much for that. I would also like to remind everyone that we're still raising money for ESA Marathon and its affiliated events. And if you don't have any money right now, but you have an Amazon Prime subscription, you can use your Twitch Prime sub to subscribe to us, which would get us $2.50, and also gets us another $2.50 for matching from HyperX, not Hypersonic like I said earlier, until we reach the 800 that you can see at the bottom there next to the total. So if you want to do that, we would greatly appreciate it. And thank you for all the donations so far and all the support.
So you might have seen right there, I almost lost the race. Never panic is what I say there, because you will pass Metal Sonic and win as long as you're not just crazy slow. So, bump the wall here. Got a couple different options of time travel here. Looks like I'm taking the backup using this signpost. Looks like I'm restarting the stage because I didn't jump off the slope like I wanted. I jumped straight into the spikes. Did you know spikes hurt? Alright, let's try that again. And still bonked the wall. That's kind of unfortunate. Got that signpost, though. That's ideally the one I want. Didn't jump, so we're going to see what this does. I'm jumping over an area, by the way, where you can easily, casually time travel. You can also easily get caught in this guy, which is kind of unfortunate. So to get to the generator, I'm going to first grab this future signpost. We're going to want that. Going to come on over here, just keep on dropping down. Probably, yep, hit a spike. Did not get fast flight. Let's try that again. Go all the way up here to this dead end. So we're going to do a little fancy stuff here. Did a 2-tap spin dash, and right there, I'm holding left. And if I timed it correctly, I will actually time travel. I will hit the bottom of this ring box, just like that. I'm inside the wall, and I could just come on over here. If you're playing this game in 4-3, by the way, never spin dash there. That's why I'd rather just walk and take it slow. If you spin dash, you will die, because that crusher will crush you every time. If you play this game in 16:9 aspect ratio, you don't have that issue. You'll see various runners use either 4-3 or 16:9. At this point, it's kind of just preference. Each aspect ratio has pros and cons because of cycles. We used to always think it was 4-3 that was faster, but honestly, Tails, please. Honestly, at this point, you could just get away with whichever you want. You know, I'm just gonna fly up here, grab this signpost, and right here, casual time travel. Now, we had to make sure we actually ran into the left spring. The reason we run into the left spring, not roll or use the right spring, is it puts us right here on the other side of that bomb. If you did not do that, you'd have to go through the bomb, and, you know, that takes some time. So we're going to come on over here. And now we're going to make our way back to where we just were. If you were Sonic, you would want to take an intentional death there and go back to the start of the stage, just because it's actually quicker for him to do that. He cannot go back, to my knowledge, into the tube we just went into. And apparently on this stage we can fly above the ceiling. Why in Title 1 we can't, I don't know. So we're just going to run across the top and fly across the top. Hi guys. And it'll be off to the last stage. Just like that, we're almost done. So I'd say if you want to get in one last donation or spiel, whatever you'd like, go for it.
Alright. In case you know anyone, your friends, family, that is currently self-isolating or isolating and is bored from watching too many TV shows, maybe consider telling them about the ESA Marathon that's still running until Monday, so they don't get too bored watching all those shows.
I did not want to hit that, so... Oh boy. There is a... Uh-oh. There's a pit of doom below me. I don't want to fall into that. Unfortunately, what I did want was to hold on this invincibility for the true final boss, these lightning bugs. I don't have it now, so this is gotta be interesting. I'm gonna wait. And... This is bad. Lightning bug, can you please? Thank you. Nope. Okay. I am going to grab some rings here real quick. That has never happened quite like that to me before. Those hitboxes are very wonky, they're a pain to do. They're literally harder than this boss right here. So I am going to go for one last trick here called double hit. You're not supposed to be able to do it, but we can. It's a very tight window. Got it. So you only have maybe 2 frames to get that jump as Tails before he's too far up. As Sonic, you have a much wider window simply because of his jump height. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But as Tails, it's very difficult. That saves 8 to 10 seconds. And one last hit, so time is coming up here in just a couple of seconds. Gotta wait for Robotnik to go to the right side of the screen. Get ready, the time. Definitely not the cleanest run of this I've done, but that's the nature of all good futures. It is not an easy category, but it is so much fun to play. Even if you don't know speedrun strats, if you just play casually and just use the casual ways of doing it, it's a blast. I'd highly recommend it. And unfortunately, because we're not playing a Sonic, we don't really get the good credits. You know, this music's alright. The Sonic music is so much better.
So the people clearly shouldn't have donated for Tails then?
Well, I can play Sonic. It doesn't mean it would look good or anyone would want to watch it. But I do recommend, if you enjoyed this game at all, watching a Sonic run, even beat the game or All Good Futures, it's pretty fun to watch.
I'm sure we'll have that probably at a future marathon. We like to have a lot of Sonic games. We usually have quite a few of them. That is also the last Sonic game in our Sonic block. Coming up will be Hammerin' Harry. You got any more shoutouts before we go on?
Just the CD community in general. It's crazy how when I started this game a couple of years ago, there was only 5, 6 of us, something like that. And it has exploded since then, even though this is not exactly a well-known Sonic game relative to Sonic 3 or Sonic Adventure 2. It's pretty popular in the speedrun community, so lots of fun to do. I'd highly recommend checking it out.
Alright. Like I said, this is the end of the Sonic block. Coming up will be Hammerin' Harry. Thank you so much, Finalflame, for your run.
Thanks for having me.
It was a very entertaining run, and we'll head it off to the intermission.